Welcome, this is Carrie Schell from On Point Quilter. This blog post was developed because I decided that I wanted to do some Christmas cards with an ice skate in them, and I couldn't find a design, so I decided to draft it as an applique motif in Electric Quilt. I do want to warn you that it took me about 30 minutes to draw the entire design. To reduce your watch time, I did some major editing where I covered the major point and then did some speeding up of the video in other places. In my project, I'm going to start and do an import and edit fabric images, select import image, and I have saved my ice skating images, actually previously done in EQ, to the My EQ8 images folder. And so I'm going to take the first one, select open, and just do an add to sketchbook. And this is the final ice skate. However, I will be tracing the pieces, so I'm going to import another image as well. Select Import Image and locate the second image, which has the sections, and select Open. Add to Project Sketchbook. And then select the block work table and do a new block, Applique Motif. In the Precision toolbar, change the width and height to 6. Set the snaps at 4 by 4, as we won't be needing those. And under snapping options, make sure you have snap to nodes and auto join segments when drawing turned on. View the project sketchbook and select the Photos tab. And let's select the second photo and edit to the block work table. Select Zoom In and drag a box to zoom in over the boot. Under Drawing Tools, and then select Draw, select Freehand. With Freehand, I like to click, hold, and drag from one point to another point. I'll trace the remainder of the boot starting and stopping at the points that I've noted with the purple circles. Notice that my shape did not fill in, which means there are pieces that are not connected. Now, if you hover over any of the nodes, it will tell you if it is a middle node or an initial or final node. Any initial and final nodes need to be connected, and so with the Edit tool, just move till they snap together. Now, if you have the Hide Show Autofill on Closed Patches turned on, once everything is connected, the shape will fill. Under Hide Show Autofill, turn it off so we can still see the tracing image. And now we are going to use the Edit tool to clean up everything that we've drawn. To start my cleanup, I always move the nodes on two sides of the line and then adjust the actual line segment. You can either drag to reposition the line segment, or if you click on the node, you can adjust the handles that are attached to the node. In both cases, you are affecting the curvature of the line segment. One thing you will note if you select a particular node, that you have a number of different options in terms of the type of node. Now, on a smooth node, if you move one of the handles, the other one moves with the first handle. However, if you click on that node, you can change the type to corner, and then both of the handles will move independently. As we continue with the process, the next thing I want to cover is adding nodes. Now, you do need to actually select not the node, but the segment between the node. And you will note that when you do that, under Drawing Tools, you have an option to add node. Now, rather than doing that, I'm going to actually double click because that gives me more flexibility in placement of the added node. Now I will use the techniques previously described to finish cleaning up the drawing of the boot. Select the Color tab. That will give you a better visual, and you can decide if you want to make any additional adjustments to the drawing. Then go back to Draw. This one has all these sort of partial circles, and so to do that, I'm going to just zoom in on one of them. Select the Shapes tool and click, hold, and drag this circle. Now, I did find that I was unable to do it because I was zoomed in too much. So go ahead and zoom out and drag a bigger circle, and then with the Control or Command key, drag a corner to resize. And if you use the Control or Command, it will keep the width and height the same. Drag the crosshairs to reposition, and again drag a corner to resize and position over the first of the eyelets. And I'm going to select it with the Edit tool because I want to know where that node is, and I want to click away and click on that node. Now I have an option to do a break it node, so that's going to put it into two pieces. Select the node on the right and reposition on the circle, and repeat with the node on the left. Then use the handle to reshape the arcs to match the tracing image. Under Draw, select the Freehand tool and trace the two segments coming out of the partial circle. Use the Edit tool to clean up placement of the nodes and adjust the curvature of the segment. With the Pick tool, select the segment that has just been drawn, clone, and position over the next eyelet in the drawing. Continue the process of cloning, and when necessary, rotate so that the opening of the circle matches the tracing image. To rotate, select the center with the Control or Command key, which will engage rotation, and then drag a corner to actually do the rotation. And once you've rotated, zoom in and clean up placement of any of the line segments. Repeat the process for the remaining eyelet segments. Under Draw, select the Freehand tool and connect up each of the eyelet segments. With the Freehand tool, trace the remainder of the boot. Use the Edit tool and adjust placement of node and the curvature of all of the segments. You will also want to double check that all of the line segments are connected and that you have no initial or final nodes. For the lacing, select the Freehand tool under Draw and trace a single line segment. This will not be a filled patch for each of the lines of tracing. For the blade, under Draw, select the brush stroke and drag a line from the tip to the end of the blade. To make the segment skinnier, click on the arrows next to boldness. And then with the Edit tool, adjust any of the nodes along the center line in the brush stroke. Select Convert to Patch. Now we will adjust the outside of the patches rather than the center line. For the curve line between the toe pick, select it and select Convert to Line. Making sure that Add Node is available, double-click to add a series of nodes and reposition them for the top and bottom points in the toe pick. Continue to clean up placement of the nodes and the line segments. For the upper portion of the blade, I found it useful to use the Edit tool and first add a node and then do a break at node, delete the extra segment, and with the freehand tool draw the remaining section of the blade. Repeat the process for the other connector piece of the blade. Clean up both the placement of the nodes and the curvature of the segments for the blade. I also found that I had an initial final segment that I needed to locate and get connected. Select the Color tab and color each of the patches using colors rather than fabrics. Select Thread Tools and find a black thread, select the dashed line, and select the third weight. Click on the two lines that are not actual patches on the boot. Add to Project Sketchbook, and then return to the Draw tab, and we're going to do some layering. Use the Pick tool, select the blade, and select Send to Back. And then we can move the boot on top of the blade. Now we no longer need the tracing image, so I'm going to go ahead and hide the tracing image, and then I can just go ahead and layer everything. And I'm going to do the same with the boot on the top. Select Color and go back to Draw, and now use the Edit tool to adjust the nodes on the white boot so it better lines up with the gray boot that's underneath. On the Draw tab, select the laces and reposition over the white boot. Select the Color tab and add to Project Sketchbook. And I'm going to want this quite a bit smaller, so on the Draw tab, change the block width and height to 3. To better fill the block, select all of the pieces, and under Resize, change to 150% horizontal and vertical, and select OK. I thought that was still a little bit too small, so I did another resize at 150%. Select the Color tab, and if necessary, make any adjustments to coloring and add to Project Sketchbook. Thanks so much for watching. I completely ran out of time today, but the plan for next week is to share with you how I used the design in Cricut Design Space and cut out the ice skating elements and used them in a card. For those of you that are interested in learning more about Applique, I have a class that I offer in Tech Know Quilters called Introduction to Applique, and I also offer it as a standalone class from my store. If you'd like more information, please check out the links in the blog post.